Hi, and welcome to another narration presented by yours truly, Cryptids Roost. Be sure to check out the blooper reel at the end of the video, which is then followed by the end screen where you will find more videos listed. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not. The Hunt, Part 2. This awesome series is written by David Morningway. Be sure to check out his Reddit profile for further stories. I would just quickly like to add that we are fast approaching 1,000 subscribers. When we do, I will be arranging a competition and it will be open to everyone. Please make sure your bell notifications are set to all. That way you will not only be notified of every new video, but you'll be notified about the competition announcements. As I watched the beginning of the rising sun, with futile effort, try and cut through the early morning fog like a spotlight in a hurricane, I stared curiously at myself in the mirror, hardly recognizing the battle maiden that gazed back into my emerald green eyes. I couldn't get back to sleep after a nightmare had woken me up at 3:33 AM. A vision of a pale humanoid hellhound of impossibly tall height, and a handsome man with one blue eye and the other a glowing intense shade of yellow. So capitalizing on my coursing adrenaline, I went ahead and did my morning push-ups and pull-ups before donning the tactical gear I bought from the army surplus store the day after I visited the local pawn shop. I still can't get that employee's face out of my mind. With the 9mm strapped to my right hip, the 357 holstered under my left armpit, tactical combat knives fastened on my left chest and right boot, mace in my cargo pocket, and a Bear Grylls parang machete on my back. I look like I'm about to go jogging through hell itself. I know there is something unholy and hungry awaiting me on my run this morning, something that has already killed at least 2 people and has methodically been stalking me for over a week. So why go at all, you may be asking yourself, and it's a very good question. Car, as Roland the Gunslinger from the Dark Tower series would say, which loosely translates to destiny. All I know for certain is that I'm supposed to go out there this morning. An undeniable and powerful force has been pushing and steering me ever since I first became aware of the anomaly within Greenway Park. And although it strongly warns me of danger, it even more tenaciously alerts my soul to something else, something far greater and more deeply interwoven within my own personal fate. I have never felt anything like the aura of otherworldly power that has been slowly growing inside of me, ebbing and flowing with profound charged energy, like a supercell storm, trying desperately to break free of its nimbostratus prison. I felt the manic balance of fear and excitement as I walked slowly to my front door, both preparing myself and embracing the feeling as I marched towards war and all the glory and horror that came with it. I felt powerful, alive and supremely driven in a way I never had before, like I had been living a half-life of quiet desperation, to then be awoken by the universe itself, so it could reveal to me my true identity. That's what it felt like, you see, like the old Jen had ceased to exist, had burnt to ash within the asylum of her own problems and hateful turmoil, for the phoenix to then rise in her place, like becoming the paragon of what you are or ever could be. All I know for certain is that something powerful cries out to me specifically with esoteric purpose, and I intend to answer that clarion call. I will go on this hunt. Cover your weapons, as to not alert it to your potential, I hear a voice say as it eased its way into my mind, like a suggestive thought that gained more life and awareness with its every word. The voice was right. My chances of success will increase the more vulnerable I initially appear. I grabbed a dark green hooded raincoat from my closet, one that went down past my knees so it would fully cover my weapons, and then downloaded a specific rife frequency to my phone. You see, ever since I had developed the psychic inclination that my foe was inherently canine, I thought to capitalize on a potential weakness. When I first started college, the stress and anxiety, well, blocked me up. After chugging a double dose of Miralax, I stumbled upon the rife frequency for constipation and thought to give it a try. The sound was annoyingly invasive, to say the least, like a digitalized version of nails scraping on a chalkboard. If you don't know what I'm referring to, go ahead and take a moment to search it up on YouTube. I'll wait. Now, did that horrible sound actually help my condition? Well, I don't know, because I couldn't even listen to the noise long enough to find out. My point being, if this is the most annoying sound that I have personally heard, then a creature with hypersensitive hearing should be affected by it on a far greater level. I turned the lock screen off my cell phone to have the frequency ready at a moment's notice, and started off on this odyssey in a slow jog. As my steadily advancing form cut through the exceptionally thick fog like a small plane parting the clouds, the voice in my head spoke again, warning me of impending danger as the hairs on the back of my neck stood up with a noticeably electric charge. "It sees you now, little one. Be careful," the voice said, as I forced myself not to look around nervously, not wanting the entity to know that I was already aware of its presence. After a half a mile of jogging at a slow but steady pace, the first telltale sign of trouble wafted its way into my nose with its sickly sweet rot, forcing me to breathe through my mouth to avoid the repugnant scent. As I began closing in on the 1 mile mark of my run, the voice spoke once again, louder and more grounded within my conscious mind now, making my spine tingle with the very presence of its words. "When you reach the throne, it will make its move," the voice warned me, referring to the tree stump that someone had carved into a rudimentary, child-sized throne that sat next to a bench facing the river. The aforementioned landmark was only about 400 yards away, making me slow my pace and gently touch the pistol holstered on my right hip, underneath the green raincoat. I began to slowly trace the fingers across the gun's barrel so my reflexes would be ready to act at a moment's notice. It was time. She is more aware of the reality of what lurks within these woods than I even imagined. Has she become mindful of my true nature as well? I doubt it, for whatever I am, both angel and demon alike have considerable vexation when attempting to locate or control me, a trait that has proved to be very useful in retaining my privacy and clandestine lifestyle. I watch her close in on the 1 mile marker of her run with a nervous concern as I circle my fingers around the silver amulet, knowing that her potent psychic abilities have turned this flawless premonition into a haphazard free-for-all, affecting everyone and everything now involved. A familiar yet alarming scent forces me to release my amulet and to begin scanning the immediate area with my heightened senses. No, not now, I think to myself, as a man in his late 50s, clad in full tactical gear, begins to inch out of the forest with what appears to be some kind of automatic rifle, parallel to the girl's position. It's the pawn shop employee. With chaos mere moments away from unfolding everywhere, I simply do not have the time or focus to try and read the man's present intentions. All I know is that he is here to kill. Rather it be the girl, or it's too late. She is about to reach the small throne-looking tree stump. I have to act now. As I approach the wooden stump, I undo my raincoat just enough to allow access to my weapons, without visibly revealing them, and put on a show of mock confusion for my stalking spectator. I need not pretend to be afraid though, for that emotion swims through my veins vigorously, making my blood pump hard with its authenticity. I hear something large land about 30 feet behind me, making a pronounced yet muffled thud as it hit the asphalted section of the greenway, like an experienced predatorial cat leaping from a great height. "Not yet, little one," the voice instructs me. "It's not aware of your tactics. Be patient. Be brave." I steel my nerves and quiet my mind before I reluctantly turn around to face my pursuer, confident that my rapidly growing psychic inclinations towards combat and the paranormal would harden my resolve upon first seeing the creature. However, nothing could have prepared my fleeting sanity for the ungodly and impossible image that now stood before me. It was so much worse than my nightmarish imagining that my sheltered human mind could ever have conjured. At first I just saw a wispy grey fleshy mound, hunched over and staring at me with two enormous burnt orange coloured eyes, with the mist so prominent that its full visage was still mostly concealed. Although I had somewhat tamed my frayed nerves, the loud cacophonous sound of snapping and reforming bone, muscle and tendon made me jump back as the creature began rising to its feet, its eyes now blazing with unnatural life like two flaming jack-o'-lanterns. It must have reached 9 feet tall by the time the monster's spine fully stopped cracking, with it now standing fully bipedal as it began showing me dirty white fangs within its sinister grin. A tall dogman of unthinkable design stood before me now, completely hairless with greyish white skin and ears standing straight up, comparative somewhere between a German Shepherd and a bat. "Lure it in and then feed it silver," the voice calmly instructed me, and I listened. Following the instructions given, I began to beg and plead, whilst cowering my body into the lowest possible position, all but prostrating myself to the advancing creature. The more frightened I appeared, the more I could somehow sense the monster's annoyance at me, for it wanted to hunt, not be fed, Its grin turned into a scowl as it closed the final distance between us. And I was ready. "No, please, no," I whimpered, as it finally approached me and then did something I was not fully expecting. It spoke.
"You disappoint me, Jennifer. I thought you would be more fun. I thought you would be more of a..."
"Fuck you," I said, interrupting whatever bullshit monologue it was saying, as I drew my .357 and unloaded everything, point blank, directly into the canine abomination. 3 of my silver bullets found their mark, piercing his right chest, left shoulder, and grazing his head while taking an oversized ear clean off. The dogman tried jumping into a nearby tree, but the sizzling and smoking flesh around the bullet's entry wounds forced him to lock up and fall to the ground, where he writhed around briefly before quickly getting up and composing himself. I foolishly used up all 6 of my silver bullets with my first initial attack on the beast. I could see the smoke that churned out of its bullet wounds start to die down, making me realise in regretful horror that I missed every vital organ, effectively wounding, but most just pissing the 9-foot monstrosity off. With now trembling hands, I attempted to draw the 9mm out from under my left armpit where it remained holstered, just to have my uneasy grip drop it to the asphalt with a metallic clank, before I could even think about aiming it. As the creature lowered itself to pounce on me, its abdomen was hit with 2 shots in quick succession, forcing it to leap an extraordinary distance into the river, where it went still and silent after the first splash. "Are you okay?" a man said as he appeared from behind a large oak tree, clutching a similar revolver to mine in his grip, just with far more tactical attachments customised into the gun's frame. It was the fucking guy from the pawn shop. "Hell no! I'm about as far from being okay as someone could possibly get," I remarked, as the man ran over to the riverbank to check on the creature's status. "Damn it! I can't see shit," he said, gazing intensely into the mist-covered water. "His skin is the same colour as the fog, so it's impossible to..." But the man was cut off as a rock exploded on the side of his head, and would have probably killed him if he wasn't wearing an old-school camouflaged combat helmet. The kind of battle attire that would look right at home in the movie Full Metal Jacket. The blow still almost knocked him unconscious as he fell to the ground, clutching the left side of his face where blood was slowly beginning to trickle out. I sprinted for the pistol I dropped, just for the creature to then cut me off, landing in front of the gun I was running for with alarming speed, causing me to fall backwards on my ass unceremoniously. However, as my palms hit the ground to steady my descent, my right hand landed on my cell phone, where I wasted no time in hitting play on the frequency I downloaded. As the creature moved on me, moderately staggering now due to the damage it just took, the rife frequency started blasting through the calm morning atmosphere like an air raid siren. I threw the phone in the opposing direction of the pistol I dropped, desperately hoping to increase my chances of making it to the cellular device while avoiding the monster's elongated reach and razor claws. As the beast grabbed its head, letting out a high-pitched howl that hurt my eardrums too. I tried running around him in a wide arc, hoping to safely circle around to my fallen pistol. Unfortunately, about halfway through my improvised plan, the dogman reached the phone and smashed it into plastic and metal debris with one large stomp. I know some of you may be asking why even throw the phone and not just hold it to your person. Well, in the almost 3 seconds I had to contemplate this decision, I kept having a vision of it just following the noise all the way to its source and dispatching me rather easily. So I made a choice. Once the sound dissipated into the ether, the creature instantly locked its burnt orange eyes onto my emerald green irises, with its mannerisms now devolving from patient predator to rabid killer. As the beast began its frenetic charge towards me, its body was riddled with automatic fire, forcing it to halt its advance and take notice of its attacker. "Run!" the man shouted as he emptied his magazine and then pulled a pistol-gripped 12-gauge from behind his back, peppering the creature with buckshot before it closed the distance on him. The monster was substantially wounded now, with the previous silver still boring smoking holes in its flesh and moving dark lines tracing up its veins, like it was being hurt far greater on an internal level. Instead of killing the man directly, it grabbed him and jumped into the water, and then up the opposing side of the riverbank, where it carried him off into the woods, as they both disappeared into the depths of the misty forest. The second I thought it was potentially over was the second I heard the man scream, followed by the atrocious sounds of something being eaten alive, like wet fabric tearing around snapping twigs. I wasted no time in picking up my fumbled pistol, and as I frantically scanned the immediate area, I saw something chrome and shiny glinting through the pervasive fog about 100 feet away. It was the man's revolver, and if I recall correctly, there should still be at least 3 shots left in the cylinder. 3 silver shots. I made it all of 10 feet before the creature landed on the weapon, seemingly out of nowhere, as fresh crimson blood slid down its lower jaw. The monster's wounds began to heal, even the ones caused by the silver, although not as quickly. Before I could let myself hesitate, I emptied all 15 9mm rounds into the tall dogman, with almost every bullet meeting pale flesh. The creature acted more annoyed at the volley of minuscule projectiles than hurt, and with a dry click of my empty pistol, I pulled the parang machete out with my right hand and bear mace with my left, letting the spent handgun fall meaninglessly to the ground. "Please," I pleaded to the voice. "Don't leave me now, damn it. Don't let it end like this." "Oh, you are not alone, little one. Not at all," the voice answered in a confident manner that sounded as if it knew something I did not. The creature slowly creeped towards me with obvious excitement, indicative by the malicious grin on its face, before something impossible happened. Or more specifically, someone impossibly happened. Before my eyes and brain could formulate an explanation, a man appeared between the creature and I. And I don't mean someone ran between us. No, someone just appeared from seemingly thin air. A blonde man wearing trendy ripped blue jeans and a black duster jacket stood before me, facing the monstrous entity. And I hope you enjoy the blooper reel. And although it strongly warns me of danger, I have never felt anything like the aura of otherworld. You see, ever since I had developed the psychic inclination that my foe has inherently. After a half mile of jogging at a slow but steady pace, the first telltale sign of trouble wafted its way into my nose with its sickly sweet rot, forcing me to breathe through my mouth to avoid. The aforementioned landmark was only about 400 yards away, making me slow my pace and gently touch the pistol. I foolishly used up all of my sick, he said, gazing intensely. Unfortunately, about halfway through my improvised plan, the dogman reached the phone and smashed it. Like wet fabric tearing sound. It was the man's revolver, and if I recall correctly, there should still be at least 3 shots left in the cylinder. Hey family, please be so kind as to throat punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing, you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. A very big thank you to David Morningway for allowing me to narrate this awesome series. Be sure to take a look at the playlist here for more of their stories that I may have already narrated. I would just like to say a very big thank you to all of the authors that I have worked with and all the ones that I will work with in the future. So thank you all, my brothers and sisters. And why not hashtag Cryptids Roost in your comments. A quick thank you to all my Cryptids Roost community family too. We are now well on our journey to 1,000 subscribers. So please spread the word and help us to grow and expand. And don't forget to share the videos too. And don't forget, by the time we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be running a competition which is open to everyone. If you would like to support us and throw me $1 or $3, I'd be very much appreciative. I do have PayPal, paypal.me/cryptidsroost. Alternatively, I have an account at buymeacoffee.com. You don't even need to register on either site to donate. I have a subreddit if you have a story you've written that you would like me to narrate for you. You can also follow us. All my socials are contained within the Linktree link below. And don't forget to check out the end screen. See above. That will also list some more videos in my back catalogue. All the links are below. Take care everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is.